Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Manisha Gupta. And there is uncertainty gripping India's agriculture commodity space yet again as it faces the brunt of climate change. After heat wave conditions and unprecedented rains, a possible delay in the onset of monsoon is casting a fresh shadow over the sector. The delay will hurt farmers for whom a normal monsoon means a good sowing season for key crops such as rice, cotton, corn, soybean and sugarcane. It will also impact other agricultural activities. To discuss these issues and what they mean for commodity prices, we have an amazing panel of agri-tech companies. I am though first joined by Pratik Gadia, who's founder and CEO at the Yarn Bazaar. Pratik, hi, good to have you. And I want to start with cotton because we've seen the price movement so much. From the highs of last year, we're down by nearly 35%. In the Indian markets, we just about continue to see further decline in cotton prices. What your platform does is it introduces or gets together the buyers and sellers. What is it? How do you see the business right now? The fragmented, attribute of the whole sector. How is it helping?
Of course, as you said, the market has not been very predictable. I think it has been predictably unpredictable. A lot of volatility with respect to prices across the value chain, farm to fashion. What is really important is either the stability to kick in, which we, at least at the Yarn Bazaar, we don't foresee. So we are hoping for a lot of kind of changes in the industry. Number one, we expect the industry, which is a core manufacturing industry, to kind of have an outlook of a service industry, which means you have to focus on key attributes like quality, innovation and design, policy making, a lot of these issues to kind of, still, go through these tough times.
Pratik, as of now, the way cotton prices are, when you see prices decline so much, there are a bit of sowing concerns as well on whether the farmers will sow as much. And then you have the onset of monsoon, which already is delayed. How do you see that impacting?
We have seen its direct impact with prices. Last time when we interacted over a different format, we discussed that suddenly last 2 months there has been about 90 to 95 lakh bees that have come to the market, right? Which signifies that it's not something usual. It's very unusual, which signifies that there was a lot of hoarding going on, which has kind of impacted the cotton prices, which has significantly come down, since our last interaction. Now this year, although we are currently standing at about 290 approx bales, we are expecting the season to close at about 330 bales or so. But as far as sowing is concerned, see, sowing has a big dependency on monsoon in India. And because of delayed monsoon, Indore at least, we are hearing decent reports, but Punjab belt is very concerning. In fact, some reports are stating that the sowing in Punjab has been the least from the last 10 years, which could be a very concerning figure. But on the other hand, looking at the demand, both domestic and international in terms of cotton exports, since that has not been that great, we're expecting this particular year, this year to kind of end at a closing stock of about 20 lakh bales or so. So in case we have a high closing stock and the sowing is not that great, I think next year still can be managed.
So tell us on what and how much of a penetration has the Yarn Bazaar done within this very fragmented space?
So as you said, the space is highly fragmented, but what is really important for us to notice is that it's a large industry, right, in terms of the market size. Indian textiles or Indian yarn itself is a huge industry, highly unorganized, which means, which is where we come in. The Yarn Bazaar's vision is about organizing this large unorganized industry. And the only way we strongly believe that can happen is by empowering smaller buyers and suppliers, because 85% is smaller players. Right, so our penetration in terms of our inbound pipeline has been great. We were featured on Shark Tank season 1, so which also gave us good visibility. But what we have done in terms of value proposition has led more to the word of mouth and inbound pipeline. We've got more than 10-15,000 textile companies which are registered with us now. And the idea is to kind of, when it comes to a small yarn manufacturer, then kind of streamline their entire activity from procurement to payment. So P2P as a process that involves manufacturing, that involves quality concerns. So, improving their efficiency, improving their capacity utilization, because we've seen, and again, you can look at a lot of reports, spinning means, especially in the south, which are yarn manufacturers, their average capacity utilization has dropped below 50%. And so that's where it's very important for us to kind of empower them in terms of increasing their capacity utilization, which although there has a direct impact on their ROC, which is return on capital employed, which is what we want to do on the yarn manufacturing side. And as far as fabric manufacturers are concerned, who are actually yarn consumers, the idea is to again kind of streamline their entire sourcing. So to become like a sourcing solution for them, giving them the right price, the right quality and on time in full delivery.
We also do understand that you are looking to go global here. Talk to us about that and what is the plan going forward?
At some point, we definitely want to go global because India is again one country in the world which has an entire ecosystem from farm to fashion, and primarily in some or the other form we are exporting. Whether it's cotton or yarn or fabric or apparel. So at some point, we definitely intend to go global. But as of today, the idea is to stick to still stick to the domestic industry, solve for the broken supply chain problem here and then look at global. By that time, we would have kind of consolidated the fragmented supplier base, streamlined their quality, ensured consistency of quality, and like a timely delivery to our international partners also. So the moment we feel comfortable that we've streamlined the domestic supply chain is when we would start going global.
Fair point that. So 15,000 companies already registered. The capacity utilization empowering is what Yarn Bazaar is working at. Going global and, of course, making a change in the cotton market in India, which is, by the way, one of the biggest industries in the country, but also very, very fragmented. Pratik, thank you so much for joining us and taking us through on what Yarn Bazaar does. But there are concerns when you look at this current season and monsoon onset not coming in. Irrigation is something that we continue to talk about at all times. We are now joined by Randhir Chauhan. He's Managing Director of Netafim India. Randhir, hi, good to have you. And I think you're the man of the moment because there are just so many concerns. And while we keep talking about drip irrigation, tell us on how much of penetration have we seen in the country versus the potential?
So about 71 million hectares is the potential, Manisha, and about 14 million has been covered. Although, the agriculture happens on 141 million hectares. So versus the irrigated area is 20% versus agriculture is less than 10%.
Randhir, also, what are global learnings into this one and what states in India are doing better than the others when it comes to drip irrigation?
See, the 5 states cover like 9 million hectares, which are like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, then Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu. So these are, and Karnataka. These are the key states where this has happened much before the other states. Although the other states remain very potential, and I'm really optimistic that this will kick off. We are hearing about this delay. Necessarily, it's an uncertainty. Either the monsoon will be late, there will be a gap, it will start late or end soon. In this, micro irrigation, the drip technology is kind of a mitigating factor. So you can use water as you wish, and you need only 50% of water versus the flood irrigation. So I'm really upbeat this year for the entire drip irrigation space.
Randhir, talk to us also about the investments that you see, the cropping patterns, especially in an year where the onset is delayed and it also is an El Nino year on top of that.
See, for farmers, another 1 week or 10 days, nothing will change. But let's say the delay is beyond July, then it will really hit crops like oilseed, pulses, and also millets, wherein farmers will start thinking about doing a different crop, and that might really create some panic in some of the commodities.
Randhir, you also are present globally. I mean, as I said, what is the global learning out of this? Because the way climate change is happening, it is going to be more technology-driven, the whole farming as a scene, and more innovations would be required, more R&D perhaps would be required as well.
Absolutely. So you work on following areas. One is that how do you organize the sector more? So instead of working on your gut feeling, how do you do agriculture mostly on information, data, and practices? And that's where I think India has a great advantage. Many startups, many organizations, we do by ourselves. We are investing into many of the startups. I think one is acting in agriculture on the basis of information is a global learning. We need to start mitigating that data, giving that data to farmers and helping them make decisions based on information is one. Two is that mechanization has no other alternate. We need to make sure that people can work in all weathers. We cannot expect people continue working in 42, 46 degrees in agriculture. And we have to take these people out and give them a certain environment to work. I think these are two major factors.
You know, as we go ahead, and there are various reports suggesting that, Randeep, that as we move forward from here, there's going to be less water available, there's going to be less arable land available as well, but the population will continue to increase. How are you then looking at drip irrigation work in favor of that?
See, there are two different scenarios in this. You know, if you talk about India, in most of the cases, our average yield is at least 30-40% less than even our southeast neighbors. Forget about the global standards. So first of all, we have a huge opportunity to catch up with the global average of the yields. And that's where drip irrigation makes a big difference. And then comes the issue of, you know, whether we need so much of area under cultivation to feed this. This is a global challenge. Companies are working on. Is that how can we have a different seed material and the varieties where you actually need less water? Two is that how do we move on to high nutrition food compared to what we do now? I think it's a bigger challenge and needs to be tackled in multiple ways.
Randeep, a final question. Talk to us also about on how is the current Kharif season then looking to you? I mean, you've said already that 10 days of a delay doesn't really bother the farmers. Anything more than that would. So how is this Kharif season looking? I know you have done a lot of work with rice as a cultivation too.
So Kharif, I think, as I said, even the recent IMD doesn't say that this is going to be a lesser monsoon, or it still shows 94%. I think 94% is a very good level. So I'm really not panic about it. I think it's going to be a good Kharif season. Yes, there might be a couple of geographies where the stress will be higher than the others.
All right. So no concerns as of now, and many of the tech companies clearly are ready when they're looking at agriculture. There are a lot of opportunities as well, but really losing time when it comes to monsoon as an onset. Randeep, thank you so much for joining us. Well, on that note, it's time for a very short break, but don't go anywhere. The discussion continues, and this time around with Karthik Jayaraman of Way Cool Foods when we return.